Good morning, Tri-C Elementary. This is Mrs. Forby, and today is Wednesday, May 6th. Happy birthday to Bradley Isaacs and Mia Koth. It's time for our moment of silence, so if you would, please join me. Thank you. All right, looking back in history on May 6th, 1837, when I was looking at the different things that happened in history, I noticed that today in history was a day of inventions. So on May 6, 1837, a blacksmith from Illinois created the very first steel plow. We know him as John Deere. In 1851, a man by the name of John Gorey got a patent for the very first refrigeration machine. We know that as the refrigerator. In 1889, the Eiffel Tower was opened in Paris, France, and the very first automobile was introduced in Paris. It was the Mercedes-Benz. In 1994, a tunnel under the English Channel connecting England to France was opened. This tunnel is called the Channel Tunnel, but it's also known as the Channel. It is the world's longest undersea tunnel, traveling 23 miles undersea. It took them 6 years to build it with an average depth of 150 feet under the bottom of the sea. The idea of this tunnel began 192 years prior to its opening, when in 1802, Napoleon Bonaparte and his men began discussing how to build the tunnel under the sea. Not forgetting, this is Teacher Appreciation Week, and I read a definition of a teacher. It said, a teacher is a multitasking educational rock star who lives to inspire and loves to encourage. They're kind of a big deal. You are teachers. Tri-C teachers, you're the best. That's all I have for announcements. Turning it over to you, Mr. Owens.
Good morning, Tri-C Elementary. Happy Wednesday. We'd like to give a special shout out to Nurse Jacinta for School Nurse Appreciation Day. We want to thank her for all that she does to keep us healthy and well. Thank you, Nurse Jacinta. We hope that you enjoy your day. We have a lot of students that join the Book of Success. Mrs. Talley would like to give a shout out to her class. 15 out of 21 students joined her for a game of Dangling Spider, which is similar to Hangman last night. She's proud of her learners for staying sharp. In third grade, 83% of all students submitted their fraction work last week. Way to go. Mrs. Fields, Mrs. Hale, Mrs. Lang, Mrs. Morris, Miss Stock, Mrs. Tester, and Mrs. Vanderzil are very proud of you and want to remind you that Sunday is Mother's Day, and be creative. Mrs. Lang's class is having a blast with their Flipgrid Fun Would You Rather assignment. Shout out to Avery Knox, Chase, Jax, Rima, Xander, Tyler, and Ellie for getting it started. Sounds very creative, Mrs. Lang's crew. Great job. All right, it is time for teacher trivia. Yesterday's question was, what current teacher at Tri-C Elementary was once a featured baton twirler at Carterville High School? The answer is Mrs. Doring. So congratulations to Caden Stearns. We had a couple of correct answers. But Caden's name was drawn out of a hat, and he is the winner for today. All right, tomorrow's question is this. We'll put it up on Facebook later this morning. What teacher at Tri-C Elementary is an avid St. Louis Blues fan and has a pet dog named after a St. Louis Blues player? So the question is, what teacher, St. Louis Blues fan, and has her dog named after a player? We'll go back to classroom teachers today as a little hint. All right, that's all we have for announcements today. Have a great Wednesday. We'll see everybody tomorrow.